Blessings, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. I am the one and only Mr. LP Steven Sykes, and we are here with Enliven Global Media Podcast. I thank y'all so very much for watching, hanging out with us, supporting us, and going through all the little technical changes that we have going on here and there and challenges. But as with always, we try to make sure we have fun, it works, and we go from there. So it's always interesting and fun, and I appreciate you all for that. Today, I have wonderful, dear, wonderful, great best friend in the world and her wonderful husband, Miss Author Tracy Harding Scott, also known as Raw Silk. And because I said her name live, I got to pay money, like a FCC fine, something like that. So we'll go from there.
None of that check is in the mail, though.
Well, yeah, we do payments now, online payments. I understand. So first and foremost, how have you been? It's been a while since we've been on, and especially with what we all the different challenges that we had, health and everything else, and we got you on. I think we haven't been on since late January. So could please provide everybody an update of what's been going on with you?
So thank you. I'm glad to be back. As you know, just extremely busy, always working and moving in silence. I finally finished my second and third book, and so I'm getting ready to release those, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for helping me get that going and motivating me to get that going. And just, always grinding. That's it. Husband's still doing his thing with personal protection. And so I'm traveling, doing some with him, and we're looking for a much needed vacation.
Amen. Well, that's a great thing. Traveling is always important to get out there to do the things that we need to do and things, and it's just always good to have out there. So today's show, we're going to talk about quite a few things, and I'm going to warn you now that some of y'all are going to probably hate me, and I'm going to lose my black card and everything else. But as y'all know, I probably do not care. Properly do not care, I should say. But today, the title is Smoke, Mirrors, and Silence, How Policy, Profits, and Power Are Fueling Our Communities. And also, in some cases, not fueling our communities. We're going to talk about various different things. But the first and foremost is we want to talk about the Trump's new spending tax bill and things, and how it's setting back the BIPOC communities. We have regressive tax policies, impact on social services, and economic inequality. And I have a lot of information and stats to go share about some of this stuff regarding it. But before I go into that, well, so from what you had experienced so far, what do you feel about what's going on regarding this tax bill?
To be honest with you, Mr. LP, I don't feel anything about it because we knew that it was coming. Those of us that were paying close attention to what he was saying pre-election, we kind of expected. So there's no surprise here for me. There's absolutely no surprise here for me. You and I've had this conversation offline. I just find it amazing that the Republican Party are so dead bent on making sure that BIPOCs don't benefit, that they would rather destroy a whole country. Okay, that says a lot. Okay, that they would definitely rather destroy a whole country. I think what I'm paying more attention to is the battle now between the idiot and Elon Musk. Okay, which we all anticipated was coming because both of them are egomaniacs and narcissistic. And so that's more scarier and more of a concern to me because this fool has given him all the access pass to all of our personal information. He's been through pretty much every government agency that there is, and that's a concern for me. That's more a concern for me than this budget. We know that it's kind of like a recession. Those of us that's old enough to remember, what our grandparents and what our parents had to go through and streamline something. This is a time where our own self-sufficiency of, a lot of my friends are gardening now and teaching each other how to grow their own, what I'm saying, food and raise their own food. Kind of like back to basics. We got so complacent and so comfortable that we thought we had arrived, okay, because they allowed us to have a little bit of something. And now, like Jeremiah Wright says, the chickens are coming home to roost.
Hmm. That's the truth. It's just really sad for all the different things. They're like, yes, we do need to go back to growing our food. We've had there's a couple of videos with NPR, the I forgot the other group. A good dear friend of mine, Natalie K. Hodge, did a video about growing pots and plants that are, on window sills. Something we've been doing, us Northerners in mid Chicago and out west. We've been doing that for history, beginning of time. So it's crazy. But for those who are not familiar with the tax plan and things, I want to just go ahead and just throw some topics off, and then Silk can stop me anywhere if you want to jump in on any of these things. First, obviously the Medicaid cuts. They're talking about the massive amounts of that's going to happen. We've had the bill proposes over $700 billion in Medicaid reductions, potentially stripping healthcare from over almost 9 million people, disproportionately affecting Black and Latino cultures. There's stricter worker requirements, about able bodies. And here's the thing that really bothers me. Just because you see somebody and you don't see them with a cane or a wheelchair or missing limb or something, that does not mean they're not disabled. We need to stop this whole thing about visual disability that you don't look sick, so you can work, whatever. You don't know what's going on in people's lives and things. And then typically if you could potentially take in somebody who is disabled for whatever reason and putting them in an environment that they're forced to try to work these 80 hours a month that they're talking about or engaging in some type of thing. That could be a trigger, that could be a fall risk, whatever the situation may be. And you have to really stop just throwing blanket things out there without really considering the impact. This is what happens when you don't have the right people in the rooms making these decisions. Everybody there are coming from, for the most part, status things. And sure, my so-and-so has Down syndromes or this or that, but more than likely you're helping them and you're shielding them, and they have aid, they have support, they have services. This is not always the case for everybody. So we need to be careful about what we put our mouths on. They are talking about frequent eligibility verifications twice a year. Now, those who are obviously, again, who are fighting some other types of disability and also mental disability as well, these could be triggers. You already have to go through so much, and every single state has different rules about it. But we know here on the East Coast, especially where the majority of the population is, that you have a lot of requirements to go through just to get something basic, just to get your 30 or 40,000 food stamps or whatever. The SNAP benefits leading up to that, the supplemental nutritional assistance program faces a ton of cuts, almost $270 million, and that can affect over 40 to 50 million Americans. My issue with that is, why in the world, of all people, Kroger, Walmart, Albertsons, just all these different places that accept food stamps, you would think the food industry would be screaming in arms about this, because you think that you're going to get more profits. That money goes to you for things. So you imagine in certain neighborhoods where literally your store may be relying on the 1st and 15th or wherever the food stamps hit on their card, and you're providing food. So you would think that they would be on the first ones out there. The tax breaks of the wealthy, which we know that was coming. They did it before. They're going to take so much money from the bottom half and push it to the top, increasing the wealth individually almost $400,000, which is stupid. Reduce education funding. We've seen this all the time. Just like keep more and more cuts where we need to take that. And I don't think you should be robbing Peter to pay Paul in certain situations. But if you took the money from one thing and put it more in education, so we don't have as much many people in food stamps, so they can maybe have more food job skills. I can somewhat see that argument. I don't agree, but I can understand where you're coming from. But you're not even doing that. You're taking away more things, and especially and now where we need more trade, because you see a lot of people are not going into the military, and a lot of people are not going to college, so they're taking other jobs, day skill classes, whichever it may be. Elimination of clean energy. We know this is coming. For whatever reason, they want to go back to coal, and chopping wood is our main source of energy. We don't know why. Gender affirming care funding. Now, look, whatever your place is on gender care, LGBT, IAQ communities, what have you, and also those who are the LGBTQ community that's within the BIPOC community. Listen, everybody has right to health care, in my opinion. It's just a fact. We're the only developed nation that does not feel for some reason that we have a right to education and healthcare. And this is wrong. Now, if they want to gender affirm and whatever, that's on them. And that's the piece that they have to make within themselves, their own personal faith and God or what have you. I don't, it's their body, their choice. And it's the same thing how I feel towards women in those situations. And let people have health care, if nothing else. Increased national debt in the last to 10, the national debt is playing on it. They say 2.3, but some estimates that say another $5 to $6 trillion to the national debt. This is just ridiculous. Silk, what are your thoughts on some of these things?
I totally agree. I think the problem that I have is why are we surprised and why are we acting like what the plan is? Okay, the plan is always to exterminate us. It always has been. So if you starve us to death or you give us foods and stuff that causes all of these ills and we no longer could get the medication and stuff for it, why does that come as a surprise? I mean, these cuts are going to be absolutely terrible, especially for our elderly that depend on a lot of these medications, these blood pressure medications and everything else. And so I honestly, again, think that this is the time where us as a people need to get back to holistic health. It's real. Everything that we need to heal our bodies is in the land. We just don't know what it is. I always a firm believer that the more pills they give you, the more elements that you end up with anyway. But the SNAP benefits to children, some of these children, the only meal that they get is when they're in school. The only meal that they get is because of food stamps. Okay, you have people who now food stamps has been stolen that they can't even get, you know what I'm saying? The government refuses to allow them to be replaced. So it's just really, really sad. And the sad thing about it is, and we've had this conversation, and I've had this conversation with a couple of friends, just think about it's going to take how many lifetimes before this country could remotely get back. I won't say what it was because it doesn't need to be what it was. It needs to be better than what it was. Um, just maybe, just maybe this is the person that's just meant to be here to destroy everything and get this thing back on track. Because the funny thing is that Caucasian Americans thought that they were exempt. They believed that they was exempt. They forgot that it's more of them on welfare than it is of us. They forgot that it's more of them on all social programs more than us. So it was okay when the gun was pointed at us, but now that it's starting to impact them, now everybody's like up in arms.
Right. And that's the thing, like don't scream like the gentleman that just got released, him and his wife, Lord Jesus, the real estate people that the daughter
Yes.
got. Okay. Now, he did a press conference and he was shocked. I tell you, shocked to see Black people not getting the care and the services and the aid, but he was able to. I mean, he saw all of them and he's like, and you know why? And I'm going to speak about it and da da da. You know what? Thank you. But now you say it to us. I want to make sure that you use all the power that you have in your contacts and things like that. Let me see what you actually are doing behind the scenes and things. Don't talk about it, be about it. I appreciate it that you recognize it, that you now have white privilege, but it took you to go to jail just for you to see that white privilege and the fact that you got white privilege in order to get out of jail. And things.
Mm-hmm.
If you did not have a very attractive daughter who's pushing and doing all these other different things, and a lot of other real estate people that are donating to Trump's campaign, extortion racket while he's office, would you be out? No, you'd be serving those 7 to 10, however many years you received, you and your wife. So let's not get it twisted, down there.
Exactly.
But this is where I typically. and I'm not saying she's perfect either, what have you, but I will give Kim Kardashian some credit. In terms of like she spent a fair amount of her millions on legal cases for a lot of women with children and other people,
Absolutely,
and things like
absolutely.
that. I give her, I've slacked on my criticisms on the Kardashians because I will say from the beginning, I guess, would it be wrong to say she recognized it from being with a bunch of black men? But that's a different story. But she recognized from early on that the horrors that people of color and especially black men has gone through over the years, and she spends a significant amount of money, not just the standard 10% of my donation. She spends a lot of her money, and it's not just throwing the money whatever. She actually goes out to there, and she's actually went to
Absolutely.
all the presidents, Biden, Obama, Trump. She didn't care. She's going out there and spit. So hats off. I would think that all these celebrities that say they are now coming to the fold, take a little bit of lessons from there. I'm not ashamed to say and give credit where credit's due. That type of thing. I want
I
to
agree.
transition. I'm sorry. Say that again, ma'am.
No, I said I totally agree.
I want to transition to the next subject, near and dear to our hearts, is about the HUD situation. And I want to I want to lead off. I have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do you want to lead off with your thoughts, or you want me to read some of this good, bad, and ugly?
No, you read off because we may have a difference of opinion um in this. So let me hear what you got.
Sure. No, I just wanted to, when I was trying to pull up the data and things like that, there's tons of it, and bad issues. I'll try to, as with everything, they say to always try to find a silver lining and speak good upon somebody, find one or two things. So, in fairness, and then try to do the right thing and peacefully and heart, God, honest and heart. Hillsborough County Housing Centric Recovery Plan in Florida, allocating 360 million of its 709 million dollars they received a federal hurricane recovery grant from HUD towards housing. This prioritization addresses the critical need for housing following the devastation of Hurricane Helene and Milton, especially in those areas of color. And the county is actively seeking public input. We're hearing scheduled before finalizing the plan on July 16th. Okay, that's one good thing. I would just be. Now, here's the bad that really took and the ugly. Work requirements for HUD assistance. A recent House passed bill proposed stricter work requirements across federal welfare programs, including HUD rental assistance. The bill mandates 80 hours a month per work related to activities for medical eligibility, with similar reforms proposed for SNAP and HUD. Critics argues these measures could disproportionately harm vulnerable populations, potentially increasing poverty and homelessness. Withdrawal of fair housing protections. The Trump administration wanted to revoke the Biden era protections aimed at addressing segregation and housing discriminations. The rule will have required localities to track and address segregation patterns to qualify for federal funds. As withdrawal reduces federal oversight, it may hinder efforts to promote equitable housing. The ugly. HUD has rescinded the 2016 Equal Access Rule, which protected LGBTQ and others from discrimination in housing. It's left transgender individuals vulnerable and other discriminatory practices toward a similar vein that people of color have already experienced. And workforce reductions at HUD indicate that the discharge of 50% of its workforce, including positions related to fair housing enforcement. These reductions could significantly impair HUD's ability to address housing discrimination and support vulnerable populations. Now, there's a lot more ugly things out there in the bad. I just
Right.
wanted to bring these things to attention. I know there's more. I'm not agreeing with any of these policies except for the first one. I'm grateful that there was some support. So, what are your thoughts?
So let's break this down in chunks. Um, in response to some of the things that you read, and there is some things that some of it is just hype, and because people don't know, HUD has always had work requirements. It's always had them. They always been there. It was written into the protocol. The problem is that over the course of time, people weren't enforcing them. People were too laid back. Um, they didn't want to be on the front page of the news, and so it became a lot of the protocols and policies that were in place with HUD kind of just got pushed to the side for me. And people like get mad when I say this or whatever, because I've been a housing advocate for over 30 something years. In some part, HUD is the worst thing that has happened to people of color, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has bred and it has helped. First, let me say it has helped, and it should be helping our seniors. It should be helping our disabled. It should be helping our low income households for a short period of time to allow them to get on their feet. That's what HUD was founded for. It wasn't to be a lifetime of living in public housing. It wasn't meant to be that program. First of all, it wasn't written for us in the first place. It was written for military housing and for Caucasian America. And so,
Especially
like everything else,
after the especially after the what was it Korea? Well, the HUD came a little bit later. I forgot the date, but after it was especially key after the Korean War.
mhm. And so what
Okay.
happened is that once white America stopped moving out into the suburbs and leaving the developments, the projects, whatever you want to call them, behind, then all of a sudden the rules of engagement changed, the care changed. If you go back across the United States and you look at these developments when they first were built, they were absolutely beautiful. Grass was maintained, the buildings was maintained. They had tenant patrols, all of these wonderful things. But over the course of time, they start deteriorating. And in their deterioration, our minds started deteriorating, right? And so we started making it okay for complacency. We started making it okay. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm telling you what I see on a daily basis in working in this environment, that there are some that take advantage of the system. I am still trying to understand, if you are less than 30% and you are struggling and the government is helping you out to try to get you on your feet, why you keep having children. To me, that's child abuse. You keep coming in like you got I'm dealing with families of 13 and families of 5, and they're struggling. It's hard as a single parent with one. I'm speaking from experience. How do you deal with that? Okay. And then there's just so much that's going on. There's programs that's there for job readiness, job preparedness, or whatever. But what's happening over the course of time, people have taught people how to manipulate, like anything else, any system. And so people that are able and willing and should be able to get up and go to work do not. You have people that are living in public housing spaces making $80,000 and $90,000 a year. You have people who are living in subsidized public housing spaces with master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and everything else. And no one's grabbing these people. I talked to a young lady 3 days ago. Her credit score was 875. I will kill to have an 875 credit score. The average American in this day and age will kill to have that. Why isn't anybody talking to her about home ownership? Why isn't anybody talking to her about, her finances and things of that nature, the complacency? And it's like, no, I don't want to move because what if I lose my job? Well, what about if half of America loses their job? This is the reality of the world. And so now you have seniors who have paid, our elders have paid their dues. They're struggling to maintain, but there's no space for them. There's no room at the inn because the inn is being occupied by able-bodied people that can go out and do something. And that's the problem that I have with HUD. And people get mad and people say comment, but the reality is what the reality is. And I challenge anybody at the sound of my voice that wants to come and spend just a day in the offices that I visit. They will see that everything that I'm saying is true. Now, don't get me wrong. You have some good people that are in public housing spaces and got subsidy, and they are doing the best that they can. Okay. And I have to respect that. But then there are those that are taking advantage of a system and bleeding it dry. People get mad. HUD said years ago that they were not going to keep giving public housing money, that they had to find other private sources. This is why all of them started selling off their inventory, starting to look for private developers. That wasn't to push people out. That was because they can't afford to carry people on their back anymore.
Because when HUD started, we were 100 and I'm sorry. What do you forgive me? I want to make sure I get this straight. What year did HUD start?
I want to say 60. I'm not sure off the top of my head, Mr. LP. I know it was immediately right after
Okay, I'm sorry. Housing and Urban Development, 1965.
65. I was going to
Okay.
say 64, 65.
So now the U.S. population in 1965. Yep, I was about to say 194, 195 million, give or take. Okay, so now look at that to now 340 million people here that we got going on and things. You're literally almost doubling the population in less than 50 years. So how are we supposed to fund? You can't fund that much. We are in the U.S. is in too many spaces, both domestically and internationally. Let me give a shout out, not to be rude. Shy Love, thank you so very much for joining in. She said, you're preaching. She said, I know people in government systems and married couple that flaunt their lives on social media, but they are getting EBT. That's crazy too, and crazy to me. Yes, I agree with you on that. And it makes it, let me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. LP. Shy is right. I mean, think about this. It's like I'm partially disabled, right? So when I go to the supermarket, there's time because of my back issues. I'll get on a little go-kart, right? And I'll ride around the store to go shopping, right? But I don't take advantage of that all the time because I know if an elder comes in behind me and I see they're looking for a cart, I'll get off of it and I'll give it to them. Okay. The point that I'm making is we have people occupying spaces that don't need to be there. And then this is the kicker. This is what's really going to blow you away. How in the hell are you living in public housing? Less than 30%. Your rent changes every time your income changes with a minimum of $50, and they don't pay rent.
No,
but yet people get mad when you get ready to evict them.
Right.
Like, what the hell is that?
You find $50 worth of cigarettes for the whole month, for the week. That's the dumb stuff that bothers me. I don't care who you are, what you are, what color, what race. Your priorities.
You and I had this conversation. Okay? I'm a truthful and transparent person. I come from the Claudine era of welfare. I come from where welfare agent used to come to your house and check your closets and monitor how many TVs that you had in your house. I come from the era that when my mother got her face-to-face meeting, it said her meeting was at 11 o'clock. She had to be there at 11 o'clock. They may not see her till 1 or 2, but she had to check in and sign in at 1 o'clock, right? And if she didn't, her benefits was cut off. Not cut off until she decides to come in. Cut off, and she had to reapply. This place, people,
and they ask for a refund. They want your money back too.
They want it back, right? No, and that's what I mean about HUD being refund. Now you have landlords that don't want to deal with this because of the complacency, and it puts them in a bad position. Okay, and not everybody is like that, but I should not have to. I've been in property management for years, and so people go, well, how does she advocate for housing and be in property management? Because I'm real with mine. Okay, I'm for the landlord and I'm for the tenant. Okay, right is right, wrong is wrong. We can't always villainize landlords because nobody, who invests in something and don't want to see a return? So why would you think somebody's going to invest in property and not want to see a return? Now, I think that some of these rents that these landlords is charging is absolutely ridiculous. I think some of the rental criteria and protocols are 3 times, 4 times the monthly rent, absolutely ridiculous. But I don't think it's too much for somebody to expect their rent. It's like right here in Richmond, Virginia, there's 4,000 people on a wait list to get into public housing. I know people whose public housing number come up and their kids are now gone, graduated, and they done moved on and their number just came up. How is that possible?
Right, because you don't take yourself off the list. They recently just kicked a whole bunch of people off, me one of them, and you got to go back and apply and do all the other stuff again for no reason, and you're still at that 14,000 whatever number, just crazy. And these are the realities that's out there. You have to start checking yourselves. And when we speak about, hey, there's some. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's things wrong. Like obviously we know about the gentrification, all the issues that government are having, the
Absolutely.
bills. I get all of that. But my biggest complaint, and I'm going to go to it in another section when we get discussing regarding it. My biggest complaint with our people in general, and I know and it's not me trying to be a Republican or incite or starts trouble, is that we have to, as a community, we have to get our houses in order. And I'm not just talking about the house in terms of where we living in our roof over our head. I'm talking about the fact of that our business, we got to get our business, our education, and so many other things in order before we start
Mr.
complaining.
LP, our grandparents used to say that you never miss the well till the water runs dry. Well, the water is running dry now. And this is the things that I'm doing now is trying to educate our people because the carpet is getting ready to be ripped out from underneath them and they are not paying attention. We're doing the boots on the ground and we're worried about what's happening with Diddy, but no one's worried about what's happening. Okay, people have this misconception, first of all, that HUD only applies to the projects, the developments, whatever you want to call it. No,
No,
HUD applies to your mortgages, okay, that people are living into there. There's HUD programs that's out there. People really, really need to understand the very basis of what HUD. HUD was not just founded just to create projects. They
let me
do other things.
let me give you another thing. Fannie and Freddie is run through HUD, and where you think all. And this is why I fuss about not having a national rent control and all these other different things, because they're not using these big organizations, these big property clusters, Anaheim. Yeah, I'm gonna call you all out and things like that. All those big rental corporations here in each state, whatever. Um, you're not getting their people are not using their money right now. Like talk about it. They've all and even when they got billions and millions of dollars available to them, okay, they still go run to applications to the government from Fannie, Freddie, whatever, to build this mega
That's
billion
right.
project or what have you. And to me, so if you're taking money from them, you are subject to their rule. They're not applying it and there's no enforcement. That's the other part about it is that there's no sometimes you can sue and they get charged, but there's not necessarily I won't say military, but there's not an enforcement arm that goes on to this thing and say, okay, you know what, you're wrong and you can't do this. Shy, thank you so very much. She says she knows recently somebody got evicted for not paying the $600 rent. You're real, right is right, wrong is wrong. Wow. Everyone must take accountability. 74% tax on people making under $15,000 is coming in the big beautiful bill. Yes. Medicaid cuts are coming. We talked about that earlier. And wow, we're learning line dances. Exactly. Those type
The
of
thing,
things.
the thing that people need to understand that the majority of the people who are evicted from those spaces either do two things. They're not paying their rent or they're not going to sign a piece of paper called the recertification to just say, I understand, and yes, I do requalify for this program. When you get on these programs, you know that this is a requirement, an annual requirement that the government requires for you to recertify. And you be surprised, landlords can't get people to come in and recertify. Okay, I got landlords now calling me like, what do I do? They got to file on somebody. Why do you have to receive legal paperwork in order for you to come and sign paperwork to get low rent?
Where we got to come to your door
It makes
and
no
we got
sense.
the kids
Or
answering
I
the
gotta
door
come
for
to your
your
door.
home.
Exactly. I gotta come to your door. No, that should not be that way. And what people don't understand, HUD pays for programs. Okay. My mother got her college degree through a HUD program. Okay, through
Mhm.
welfare. Okay, she went to college, she got a free ride, she elevated herself because of HUD programs. There's other things out there that they do. And I really
Community
think people need to pay attention to that.
community development block grants was those things. that promote their housing rehabilitation, obviously economic development, jobs, activities in the community to create safe spaces. So in order for you to go, but it's not always just about safe spaces for you, but it's also creating safe spaces. And I know this is going to sound odd to people, but safe spaces for small businesses and large businesses to be able to come. So if you're not spending it to make it work, so grocery store is not going to come to your area. Anything. If it's a high crime rate, theft, this, that, and the other, so grocery store is not going to come. So job is not going to come. So bus line is not going to come through. Okay, we all know those areas, including here in the RVA, that bus lines are not in the same areas what they used to be. All those other areas, because we are not spending the money, and it goes to another area that's going to give the service and the care. Why am I going? It's just a logical sense. I'm going to keep giving you, pick up a high school kid? Why am I going to buy you a PlayStation or a toy or a car or whatever, but you are still making bad grades and you're not even going to class, you're skipping school, but you expect me to give you something? Same thing here. I think we've gotten to such a society from Generation X down that you are given such things and rewarded, or just given a pass and D, or just given this. So now you get to be an adult, and these bad habits and people with these bad skills and bad social skills, bad life skills, and common sense skills are now raising kids after kids after kids with these same bad habits things.
But
Yeah,
it's like, if you think about it, it's almost like a plantation mentality. As long as I do what the master want me to do, and I just be a good little Negro, I can get this low this, and I can get this cheap this, and I can. We have got to get out of that mindset, because when people have you like that, they can control you. They control you. It's not by happenstance that the black family was disenfranchised because of this. Okay, when the man couldn't be at home, he had to hide or whatever. He get incarcerated. He can't come back home. This is foolishness. When do we learn? Why do we keep regurgitating the same things over and over again? Self-sufficiency has always been the way for us, and the template is there. I don't understand why we keep waiting for the people up in Washington, D.C., and that's whether you're Republican, Democrat, whatever. Why are we still waiting for these people for one day the light bulb to come on in their head and say, you know what? We done treated black people like shit too long. We're gonna really treat them good now. Like, why? Why do we keep approaching life like all of a sudden like they're just gonna wake up and just love us? It's kind of like listening to Jennifer Hudson and Dreamgirls, like, not going, you're gonna love me. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Okay, self-sufficiency is what we need to be preaching. We need to be teaching our children how to stand on their own 2 feet, because we can't trust them. You can't trust them. One of the things that my husband and I even talked about is that, the other day, and it's a little off topic, Mr. LP, but remember I hit you up and I said the other day somebody had said that they found like 750 unmarked graves for Confederates in Manchester, out here in Richmond, Virginia. And they said they didn't know what to do. And I said, do like they did to the African American burial ground, make a parking lot out of it. Well, Lord, the maggots came out of the woodwork. All you kept getting was things of that. That's over. Y'all should get over it. Here we go with the racism and blah 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 blah. But my point is, how do you get over what's still happening today? And you all are still reaping the benefits from what happened way back then. Will the NFL ever get even?
because he's like, how do you equate, if you can? We keep saying 400, but it's really 500. Let's be real. 500 years of this foolishness. Are you going to actually give us everybody $1 million an acre? Oh, dude. And I'll tell you, if they actually ever get that going, you're going to see so many people, white people, and people who did not, maybe black, but then they did not live the life of, they were able to pass. So they act like they're not black. You're going to see so many of them going to claim their black roots in a minute as soon as they start passing out land and money. It's going to be stupid, just crazy. But now, leading into this, I'm going to skip. We were going to talk about vaping, but I'm going to skip over to the other part here about you know, cleaning up our initiatives and reclaiming our neighborhoods. And basically, I want to say, when are we going to have a national divorce from this ratchet culture in our and accepting this foolishness in our communities? We are far too long. It is tired. Do we have a right to do what you want, act what you want? Yes, you do. But why are you so comfortable and resistant and hard headed and foolishness and just want to live the life of hubris in order to please for the sake of the gram, for the sake of clout and everything else? We put so, and I get it. This a lot of this is mental slavery. We put so much emphasis on because stuff was not given to us fairly or taken from us. And so when we get something, it's so proud, it's so this, we got to stand out. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate our culture in terms of fashion and all these other different things, but we put so much into it. Like this, even now, let's use an example, the sneaker culture. Would it be the way it is from the back of the day, from the Converse, the Chucks, and the Dr. J's, who lead it on to the Jordans and all this stuff? Now, if we, especially us black people and black men, didn't put so much emphasis on it and killing our people for it, the triple fat gooses and the Adidas jerseys, the big chains, and all this stuff. And I think about all the money and the drama and the foolishness that we put into this from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And where would we have been if we said, you know what? Let's take this education or the money that we have and put it into our investments, the penny books, the stocks, whatever, or put a building community. Sure, we may not have something right now, but it's not about me. It's about maybe that child, you know, all the thugs and people like, yeah, I got to worry about my legacy, my seed, all this other foolishness they come up with. But if you really are, then focus on that. When are we going to have this national divorce? And some of the things that I was reaching out to is that, you know, we, through our policy advocacy, also empowerment through our action, community-led things of beautification in our neighborhoods. It's just a whole bunch of different things. And I'm going to run through them real quickly just so people can have a gist of an idea of where I'm heading to this. Part of it is, you know, we need to address the decline, the issue of our historical redlining, discriminatory practices. You know, that's within our neighborhoods. Heck, they're not doing it in white neighborhoods because we don't have any more neighborhoods for you to take. So they said, well, what do they always do in the jungle? They eat their own when there's nothing else. The weak shall be eaten. And so that's what's happening now. Economic disinvestment, you know, businesses and services are often to relocate to other things. And just now you have job loss and reduced economic activity. Gentrification, we already know that. Inadequate public services, you know, obviously the food, the water, the poor infrastructure. We're dealing with that here in Richmond right now. And let me tell you right now, let's just tell the truth. Let me just sidebar for a minute. I'm sorry for all what's happening to the water and the crisis and all this other stuff. But it's been happening. It's been like this for years. It's been for decades. But the reason why it was not addressed was because what? Richmond was known to be 70 to 80% something black. You did not care. But now for the last 5 to 7 years that Richmond has been gentrified, the downtown area, the whole zip code 23220 and everywhere else. And I'm not just saying Richmond, this has happened in a lot of cities and towns. For some areas, it may have been downtown like us. Some areas, it may have been the counties, and some areas, it may be the combination of both. But you gentrify, and now it became stressed. More people than it already was in the area. And now the system is broken. And then now you're only choosing to fix it because you have enough of others saying, hey, fix it because my grandkid or whatever can't go to school. The Fox Elementary School is shut down. We had all that need to be rebuilt, you know, old buildings, all these other different issues. But but you did not care. And that's the thing where we need to start realizing with these public services. And now that you are getting this fix, don't sit there that you can't share it with anybody else either. Like the water is not your own. Okay. We all paying taxes to it. We're everybody, black, white, whomever. So sidebar on the Richmond Water Authority. What do you think, Sil?
I totally agree.
What's
I
up?
think one of the issues, I don't even want to touch on the whole water crisis thing, I find it ironic that when
on the other side,
when the water crisis initially happened, it was scapegoat the black woman, get rid of her off of her head. But now we right back where we started from, and it's dead silence. So that just goes to show how chauvinistic and we are here. So yeah, that part.
Right.
I agree with you
But
about reclaiming neighborhoods and stuff, but I have a different take on it. I think that people, like they say, you are a product of your environment, so you can only teach what you know. If no one's ever poured into you the knowledge of stocks and bonds and 401ks, all of that stuff or whatever, then that just goes right over your head. That's not your priority to focus on. That doesn't make that person a bad person. It's just not something that was poured into them to know. I think the only problem that I have is that in living in this day and age where knowledge is everywhere, you can Google, you can, walk into a library freely and not get spit on or things of that nature that we should have. I think my mindset has always been, ever since I was young, of thinking about all that the elders went through to allow me to do what I can do now, right? And
mhm.
because of that, I just I live differently. You know what I'm saying? I had that thirst for knowledge. I had that thirst to continue and press on or whatever and stuff. But now these days, we were forced to read books and we appreciate it now. Back then we were mad, we had to write books. We had to write book reports for our parents and explain to them what it was about. Now you have PlayStation 5 babysitting your kids. You give them a controller, and as long as you don't hear from them for the rest of the day, we good. It's like how many of these kids that's out of school has got a book or going to a library or and not on something electronic, So we just live in a different era right now. And then our people have been so beat up that they go, okay, why am I talking about a community that is not even care, like it's not even mine? Okay, it's just like having these turf wars. These people fight over something that doesn't even belong to them. So how do we engage? How do we engage? How do we get back where everybody gets back together, in the neighborhood like they used to? If I ate, everybody in the neighborhood ate.
But we talk about, but everybody want to point to. I find it, because they have the big fire there. But everybody loves to point to Tulsa, but really the original Black Wall Street was here in Richmond. But we talk about all these various blocks. We're quick to claim. We are quick to claim it when it fits the narrative and we're trying to explain it to somebody else or on a platform such as this. But as a general rule in practice, we are not practicing it and speaking. Well, it don't concern me. It's not my chick, not my child, not my house. But the problem is that mentality is sinking our people even further into the water. It's not where all tides are raised. The tides is raising all ships here. Okay, it's really sinking. And now to the point where we're not even floating, much less sinking. So it is hard.
I agree with that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah. No, I was saying that, and even back then, I agree with your point. The thing I would ask is that we knew better. We just chose, and back then that we chose not to, because it was always something, especially from the 20s up to maybe through the 70s, we were quick to celebrate anybody that was becoming a doctor or a lawyer and everything. Ooh, you going, so-and-so was going to college, and it wasn't just a block, it was a whole community, if not the whole city or town, several cities celebrating that one or two kids that was going to the college, somewhere and getting a degree or whatever. I'm not saying we have to blow it up like that, but we don't respect it in the same manner because it's been somewhat commonplace and as a overall rule, not available as it still should be, but still generally more. So we've gotten complacent in that manner. We don't recognize it, and we celebrated that the education or somebody coming back, went somewhere, came back and shared that information. and shared it to the community. And we knew, but oh, you just trying to be one of them. Don't tell me what to do. We've heard what we've seen it in our movies. We've seen it in our culture, from the 70s, 80s. Anybody that was trying to do something different, even now, let's say, you were doing rock or anything else that was not necessarily traditional Black in somebody's eye, now you're wrong. But then you're trying to share that knowledge or gift to something that could go further. I use an example. We can do it in almost in every single industry. Let's use high school sports. 60s, 70s, and 80s, okay, before the 90s. There were probably, for that, thousands of kids that didn't make the football team or the basketball team and was set. Probably would have been a hell of a baseball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, whatever player, golf even. But we knew better, but we didn't want to do it and didn't want to encourage it. Okay. And it's things like that.
So let me interrupt there though, because and I agree with you to a certain extent, because if you talk about that, Mr. LP, you have to talk about that historically. Our kids have always been pimped to play football and basketball.
No. I was going there. I'm sorry. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? All of the great white folks that come in our neighborhood, exactly. Okay, the agenda is for them to win trophies and stuff like that. But for us, it was the way out of circumstance. It was a way out of the hood. It was way out of the developments or whatever and stuff. So it was our own exit strategy, other than our children going into the military. There was nobody from lacrosse and everything else coming into our neighborhood saying, hey, have you thought about this? Even with soccer, you know what I'm saying, and stuff, which is our sport anyway.
Exactly. So it was, I agree. So that's where I'm saying, I'm just using that. We could say with education, we could say music. Oh, you didn't produce rap or this, that, and other, but then you can look at every, probably from 75 to 90, including the big 80s, with all the rock and light rock and everything else from the radio, when radio was still dominant. What was the report? 65, 70% of that was nothing but people of color engineers. Black, Jewish, Latin, just all Asian engineers, all in that thing. So just building all of that. These are just avenues that I'm just saying that it was there. And then now, to your point, going forward, there's no excuse. You know better, you do better. Even if you don't know better, you can press a key. You don't even have to press the button. You can just talk and it does it. And soon we're going to think about it and it pops up in our face, all the different things. I give you, and when you talk about the, even a game, we recently there's two games. The second one, I forgot the name, that just came out recently, but the one just about a month ago, Assassin's Creed. Okay. I know there's some people might think I'm going off topic, but here I'm not. Okay. Yasuki was and I know I'm saying it wrong, was a historical figure, but the game focused heavily on a Black character for half the game to help partnering with a young woman, Asian woman. And now because of that, the game is like, oh, woke, it's complaining or whatever. But we didn't sit there and bother to sit there to at least play the game. And obviously some elements is fiction, designed to make it whatever for a game, but it still invoked a level of history. We said so many people play the Call of Duty's games and such, but we never sit there and talk about the respect and the historical aspect of some of the games. Now, granted, some of these stage names and fiction and what have you, but where it's based about, we don't talk about. We always, when we talk about even the history and military from the Black perspective, we talk about from the American side, but we don't talk about the Black military from or European side in other areas of the world, or the Blacks and Latinos that was in South America that were pulled to fight in America side or wherever to be part of the war for the UN. We don't talk about those different types of things that goes on. That, when you play these games, here, let me give you some real history that goes along with this game. I'm saying, so we have to start educating ourselves. I'm sorry, it's out there. You can just type it in YouTube and, or online and read a book. It's always available. And we just do not do a good topic, good times. Set good times within our families to have general positive good topics and conversations with each other, and not just with your immediate family, with our extended families as well. We need to do a better job. I got one more topic. How you feel, Sil? Can we go over about another 15 more minutes, or you good?
Oh no, I'm good. Go ahead. I'm in the car
Okay.
heading down the road.
All right, not a problem. Well, I want to talk to a favorite topic of mine, and I know this is, people are going to sit there and be ready to kill me, but it's okay. Hello to our Divine Nine, our Black Greeks, and all the sub chapters and things like that. Hi. For full disclosure, my name is Stephen Lawrence Sykes. My email is enlivengm@gmail.com. Put that out there. So get ready to write it, and I'll put it at the end. Could get ready because I'm ready for that cheese. I'm ready for that smoke. Some of you are going to get mad because you're not going to listen before you comment. But it's okay. I love you anyway. Our culture has a lot of different problems, and I'm not saying there's not good things and what have you, but our Black Greeks have failed us on a whole. Now, I will personally acknowledge, yes, there are some very good chapters and other aspects and things that are doing a wonderful job. Okay. And I appreciate you. But as a whole, no, you're not. You things. And you failed. Yes, your mission has failed. And I'm going to tell you why. We have fallen short, if nothing else. The mission, the whole statement, you can give me all the song and dance about, your mission for each of your groups and things and what have you. And I get it. Okay. You know it by heart. Some of you know it better than your own Bible verses. Okay. But overall, even if the one very thing that is supposed to be is to help utilize those educations, the connections and everything else to help increase our footprint in the political and financial space, and then even the education space to help uplift our communities. Going back, our colleges are falling. Black colleges don't have funding. We are falling in the education. We're falling in the financial space. We don't have the Black banks. To the thing, we got rid of the credit unions. We're not even doing enough job, even without the banks, our own self-funding programs. And politically, we're not there. Okay, we did it was fine when it was comfortable and it's popular, but we're not there. I want to give you another list of things that where our Black Greek organizations have fallen. Limited political advocacy, despite historical involvement. We have some that ran in various groups and things, but still current engagement in policy advocacy is minimal. For all the stuff that will show up for Black concerts and Beyonce and even some of the Taylor Swift and everybody else, we don't show up in political arms and the political action groups lobbying for money. Where's the lobby groups for us when it comes to Black colleges? Where's the lobbying for our homes from the political action from these Black Greeks? Where are you? Okay. Now there's a few chapters. Yes. Thank you. In your state levels and local. Cool. But you're not doing enough job making it known. And it's not about bragging. It's about educating the others and encouraging the youth to see what's going on and you can continue that mode. That's what it's about. We focus so much on social activities, emphasis on social events and overshadow of the civic activities. Y'all throw a great party. Anytime there's homecoming, hey, Howard, NC State, North Carolina A&T Aggies, Grambling, Southern, yeah, I know you're mad, but all the different schools. But we do all of that. But where's the parties? Or better yet, how about talk about some of the celebrations that we've had in other cultures throughout the continent of Africa, Asia, everywhere else where we are there and existing, but we don't talk about that, but we still want to celebrate. And then we play the most ratchet music in the world and it's making us look like fools. Insufficient voter mobilization. It was great when it came up time for Obama. I could not breathe as somebody out the door. More than a homeless man asking for money, more than a doggone Mormon saying, hey, do you want to believe in Jesus? Do you want to come to our church? All these different things. You were there. And the pads and everything. But where are you now, your primaries? Where are your local elections, the sheriffs and everywhere else? I don't see you. I had this discussion with a good friend of mine as a mentor, and he was very upset about it. But I gave him the facts that he did not like, and he still probably not agree. But where are you? We got primaries here just in this state and up and down in Jersey and everywhere else. That's key to try to help get ready for midterms and just not even just on a federal side, but your state and local elections. Where are you? You're not there. Elitism, excuse me. Perceived exclusivity to alienate broader community involvement. Now, I get it. When you get certain ways, things, you can't bring everybody with you. But some of you got so far up in the Hamptons and other places in Alabama and exclusive areas, New Orleans, Texas, LA, wherever, you're not there anymore. Hey, Mr. Boyd, how you doing? I appreciate you, sir. You came in right on time. I love you, sir. You know, we've had this level of elitism, and we just don't get involved. Inadequate response to social issues. Slow or absent. Now, when it comes to the popular things, you know, Sandra Bland, you know, George Floyd, sure, our Black fraternities and sororities are there. But where's the consistency? Where are you, you know, when Chauvin was up for appeal, where were we there? Where were we for Troy and everybody else? Why does it have to wait to a national level and a conversation before we actually do something? When are we going to be more proactive than reactive? There are, besides Lord Jesus, the current lawyer that's pretty popular for current Black cases, but besides him, where are we? There's plenty of great lawyers, Black, white, whomever, out there, but we all want to run for popularity and tell us so we can make sure we get on CNN or whoever. Symbolic gestures over actions, participation in marches and events without sustained follow through and limits the impact. We talked about that. Neglect of local issues. We just recently, there was news that Charlottesville and also Virginia Beach is now the drug capital, one of the top 2-3 drug capitals of the East Coast. Where's the Black population here? I mean, the Greek population here. Or better yet, why did it take years to come out on a study, which we knew for a fact, okay, that for years we ran with the dialogue that Black men are missing in their children, Black fathers, we ran the jokes and everything else for many, many years. But true for the fact of the reality that of all cultures, Black fathers were always involved, whether we were married or with the baby mother or whoever, or the mother of your child, we were always there and whole, more so by percentage leaps and bounds, while everybody else was under 50%. Okay, but now we're of all the men and these Greeks, we quick to talk about the stepping. We quick to talk about all the things and getting together and connecting with the old heads and have the conversations and things like that. But where did that lead to? You know, things of that nature. Utilization. I'm sorry, struggling with some medication with the words in my tongue, so forgive me. Underutilization of networks. Extensive alumni network. Really have a very good extensive network, but we have not done a very good job extending that. Point in case, COVID. Now, so many of you have great businesses, other ideas, but you did not run to build those things online. Or some, whether you're a part of a Greek organization or not, ran scams. But you didn't utilize and encourage. There's a perfect time to sit there and improve our skills online, work to get internet, pick up the kids and move them somewhere else to, you know, to get the internet, whatever the situation may be. Improve your own skills. We did not utilize all that free money that was passed around. Help work with somebody who could get the money and pass around, and you sit there and watch the class together or share the screens. We would find all the different ways to play the game, to communicate. I don't know how to do all this. Lord, forgive me, BS, and I'm trying not to talk like silk and cuss right now. We find a way to talk in anything you want. If somebody cheated at you, or you want to fight, or somebody says something about it, or if there's an issue, you want to talk about Troy Lorenz and Megan Stallion shot in the foot, Cardi and Diggs and Offset and all this other stuff. We quick to find the internet and find a way to talk, email, chat, video, AOL, whatever. We quick to find it all. But you cannot find this way to sit down and learn how to use Zoom properly or disk properly to fill out. I still do not understand why we do not know how to simply use a PDF. But you can tell me all, TikTok is fun, but it has a lot of complicated components to it that take some time to learn, even with Instagram. But you have 7-year-olds that can fly through Instagram and TikTok and do a video looking like a professional movie studio, but cannot sit there and do anything else. But you want to sit there and say, oh, there's socialization. That is your fault. And that is the fault, not the only sole person, but as groups that pride themselves as being the leaders of our culture. Where the F were you? And resistance to change the structure. I've seen so many groups. Okay, I personally have tried to help out about well over 40 or 50 of them. And granted, that's nowhere near, that's barely 1% of all the different chapters. Okay, I realize that. But in this small sample size, so many of them are so strict to these traditional structures and adapted to contemporary changes. You're acting like the damn black churches. First, you can't clap. First, you can only sing hymns. Then you can't clap. Then you can clap. Then everything else. And then now we have the black gospel that's rooted in a lot of R&B and rap and stuff. But if you do anything traditional or anything else, you're wrong. Or new age rock, you can forget it. Now we're sitting there doing, praise dances and all these other different things and stuff, to change, and people are mad. But you got to meet people where they are. And still the message does not change. And the same thing, our goals for our communities does not change. Economic development, housing, mental health, our physical health. We're dying from colon cancer and all these other different things going on. Our black men, prostate cancer, breast cancer. Where are we? Where's the black groups that should be out there fighting with Harvard and Columbia because guess what? Those schools were the first ones that came out with evidence-based training, sit there and saying, listen, stop taking this metformin. Stop taking some of this other medicine out there of things that is not made for black people, people of color in certain situations. And it says it on the bottle. Without that studies, we still will have more of us would have passed away by now. So where are you in the fight here? And some of the black colleges are missing some of this money because they were involved in some of the research, or even other colleges, and the lack of transparency. Decision making, we don't even know the order. I see more together in order when it comes to the women getting married. You invite more of the women in your sorority group than you do in your own family in the church. But then when it was that reality show about 10, 12 years ago, when it had the sorority sisters of a reality show, y'all quick to get us to get that off the air. So it was okay for our women to act ratchet as long as you don't wear the sorority colors. Okay. So, but now, as I've always say, you can't say something without providing actionable tools. What can we do? Now, I have actionable tools, but before I go into this, I know I went into a bit of a rant, but I just wanted to get that out there because it's something that's really passionate in my heart. Silk, go ahead and yell at me.
No, I mean, your opinion, opinion. I too have an opinion that I wouldn't say that they fail, but there are some, like anything else, there's some great chapters that are doing some great work. And then there's some that are just there to be fashionable and be able to wear the colors. And that's with every organization. I've been at Eastern Star for years. And so I know exactly what you're saying. I did not, unfortunately, when I went to school, when I went to college, I didn't have interest in pledging, but I have a lot of Divine Nine brothers and sisters that are friends, and I get to talk to them. I think my aggravation with them is a little different from yours. My aggravation with them is not recognizing the difference between initiation and infiltration. And I've said this several times. I never understood why white people were allowed to join the divine when we talk about the very essence and the foundations and the principles of why these organizations was founded. And then when I look up on TikTok and social media and I see sorors cheering on Becky and Bobby and Karen and all kinds of places or whatever. And that's not racist. That's just fact. We were not allowed in their sororities. We were not allowed in their fraternities. This is one of the reasons why we started these organizations in the first place. And then, so now you've let them infiltrate. They've come to the meetings. They've learned all of the secrets you done shared with them. You think that they didn't pass that on to somebody else? That they didn't? I'm just confused about that. And no one, I've talked to loads of, sorority sisters. I've talked to loads of frat brothers that I know, and they all say some of them are the same mindset that I am. They just can't say it out loud, which I don't understand, because one of the things that I posted immediately when Trump got rid of DEI, I was like, okay, well, where's this mass exodus of all of them that's going to HBCUs and all of them that's going to belong to the sorority? I am a Grambling alumni. I went to Grambling State, and I remember when Grambling announced this white tiger, and I was like, bullshit. Tigers are not white. Like, we tigers look like me. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. And it's irritating to me, because it's almost as if like we cannot have anything of our own. Every other culture, every other race can have something definitive for them. But when it comes to us, we always have got to accept other people in. Now, that doesn't make it a bad thing that you say this is mine, but I can't worry about you. I have to worry about me. And how do we keep the same principle? Like, what's changed? Like, that's what I've been wanting to hear since I'm not a member of a sorority. Like, how now you look at your elders, your founders, when y'all celebrate Founders Day, when you violated everything that they founded the organizations for in the first place? So I'm like really confused. So I'm just hoping that, somebody that, one of my Divine Nine brothers and sisters DM me or call me. I'd love to have a conversation about that, because that has really just got up underneath my skin. It really, really has.
Right. First of all, thank you, Boyd. Please elaborate, Roy Boyd. Thank you so very much for joining in the conversation. He posted all of them don't do that. Yes, I wasn't saying all the groups and things. Again, I emphasize several times that I'm not saying all. And if that's not what you're referring to, please join in. Please comment so I can make sure I correctly address which point that you're doing, because I don't want to be remiss and not acknowledge and address your concern. I want to make sure I'm correct on that. I think I've never found a good answer to that, to be fair to that. I know that in my peaceful spiritual heart, I would not if I was not allowed to eat, do I let my next man, regardless of color, starve? So, but now at the same time, you cannot feed the wolves, as they say, because at the same time, they will bite your hand.
I'm just trying to understand why you're trying to sugarcoat this to go around the neighborhood. My logic is there is nothing wrong with saying this is like for us, by us, period.
Well, no, I
and
agree
that's
with
okay.
you. I'm just saying, I just don't understand. I just know. I'm saying that traditionally on most issues, I'm a person that's want to share. I'm saying in this issue here, you can't cast the pearls in front of swine. And I'm not trying to call white people swine, but I'm just saying that you can't do it because I know in various other cultures, you can't participate something unless you are of the native of that culture.
Exactly.
So, we have to be mindful of that. And I'm not looking to spread hate amongst all of this. And if you were
I don't think that's not hate at all. That's just fact. Okay, that's fact. I see Mr. Boyd's comment, and he's 100% right. I agree with you that all of them do not do that, I'm sure. But the fact of the matter is, they should have never been allowed to infiltrate. It was not for them, and that was okay. It was okay that this particular thing is not for you. You have your
Right.
thing. Let us have our thing. It's almost as if what has been said and is factual is right before our face. If you don't let us in, then you will cease to exist. We will make sure of that. That's what that thing is about. Let's just tell the truth and shame the devil.
Gotcha. And I want to be sure that, Roy, thank you so very much for joining in and addressing this, because I want to make sure everybody's point. I'm sure that some Caucasian brothers and sisters do not share the information to other Caucasian brothers and sisters who don't have our best interests in our hearts in his experience. I appreciate that. And then he also put, in my experience as an alpha brother for nearly 32 years, amen, brother. Many of our Caucasian brothers and sisters are down, or as Norman Mailer once referred to, and I'm sorry because I don't mean, I'm not sure, part of it got cut off. I hear you. I hear you. And I know that you're
I
not
don't.
looking to,
What does he mean by? What does he mean by down? I'm confused.
I guess what he's saying is down that, there are Caucasian people who understand our plight, and they know not to share it to the wrong person.
Absolutely. No, I agree with what Mr. Boyd is saying. We have
Mm-hmm.
I have I totally agree that we have Caucasian brothers and sisters. They know our struggles or whatever, but this fraternity and sorority is not for you. Plain and simple. If we're supposed to be found the principles starting something for African Americans, then it should have stayed African Americans. There should be no black, there should be no white alphas, there should be no white AKAs or whatever, because that's not what these organizations was founded for. You don't have a problem with Delta Phi Mu and all of these other things. It's no different. Or if you don't have honor, you can't be in an honest society.
Right. That's the thing. It's sort of like, yeah, I agree with you. You have to be careful. Where's the principle? Where down the line? Oh, darn it, lost yourself. Please join us back in when you get a chance. Where was the line crossed or missing now to the fact of where we lost our way? I guess in my thing. I don't mean to offend bright Negroes. Okay, yeah, Eminem, Tina Marie, definitely. Oh no, we definitely knew you're not looking to offend, and I thank you very much, sir, for sharing and expressing that. And let me make sure I get Silk back here in the screen. Silk, you're here, Ripping
Okay.
Queen.
Yeah, I lost
Okay,
signal. I'm sorry.
well, that's not a problem. And I agree. He was saying that he understands what you were saying, and he wasn't taking offense or anything like that. He understood clearly what you're
No, no,
saying.
no. I,
And
didn't- I didn't think he. I didn't think that he did. I didn't think that he did.
Yeah.
I just think that, like I said, that's just Mr. Boyd. My opinion is something that, because it's almost as if, like, in my opinion, like, we can't have anything exclusively for us. As soon as we attempt or even try to have something exclusively for us, it becomes a matter of either we're accused of being racist, which is impossible, or we're forced by certain principles, like you can't do this, you can't do that, if you don't let open to everybody. But no other race, no other culture has to do that. And I think that's the
because
problem that I
Right,
have.
because you don't want it for whatever reason. When we get something, they feel like we taking something from them, so we got to get a piece of it. This is not something like we give something, we got to be taxed back, so you can make sure that you don't feel the subject of whatever you get out your feelings. It ain't all about you. To those who are offended and feel that we're taking something from you, we're not. We're not even. I'm beyond the aspect of asking. I am demanding and things that
But it seems like to
requiring.
me, it seems like to me, Mr. LP, I look at it different. I don't feel like it's felt that we're taking away from them. I honestly feel like, oh hell no, we can't let them all get in the room by themselves. Some good might come out of it. So y'all go on and in there, and y'all pay attention to what's going on and let us know what they're doing. That's just how I feel.
No, no, I agree with you, and there's elements of that as well. I'm not disagreeing. I think we're talking the same, on a coin here. You know, perfect example, Roy. Sinners. Very good point there, sir. Very good point. So now go back into the previous point of, okay, what are some of the things that as our Greek organizations, our BGLOs, I'm not sure how we say BGLOs, how we can do repair their impact, reclaim the legacy, and step up. Okay. I'm just going to run through it, so we're not going to take too long. Develop a national voter mobilization plan and stick with it. There's going to be some up and down issues, but have some requirements. Organize and coordinate campaigns across different chapters. Register, educate, turn out our Black vote, not just during presidential cycles, but in every single election. I don't care if we're voting for the new bookkeeper for the doggone local library. We need to be informed, because that bookkeeper could be the person that could be hiding Black books. I'm just saying. We have a president that felt like you can go to the Library of Congress and check out books. Okay, this is where we are at. What was it? We were 126 in the world in literacy, dead last or darn near it. Come on now. Form political action committees. That's one of my biggest issues. Take these committees and go fight and things. We should have half the Divine Nine should be out there as a political action group, in either as an individual or as a group, sitting up there knowing that this would disproportionately affect people of color, especially Black people, of these Medicaid cuts. Okay, because now think about it. We died. That's less members for you. It's in your best interest. So those people who are coming up from various upbringings in life, good, bad, and different, could potentially be a member and use those experiences to help uplift others. Why deny that from them? And support pro-Black candidates. It doesn't have to be Black per se. Now, don't get me wrong. We need more Black candidates. Some of these people need to be more involved, but we need to identify. People do not know. And there are candidates who are maybe interested in our plight, but do not know because we are not accurately identifying and communicating. We're not picking up the phone and sending those emails and going to the town halls, all these other different things. We should be pushing that. We should be busy right now for the next 4 years with PACs. Yes, that's my biggest issue. Host candidate forums and town halls. Facilitate direct conversation with elected officials in the Black community, especially during off-cycle elections. Yes. Perfect example. Praise be, I have to give respect, Congresswoman Jennifer McCullen. Thank you very much. She opened up a town hall down at Virginia State, opened to everybody. Hi, here's what we've done. Here's what's going on. I want to hear from you. What are your issues and what else that we need to be focused on from her side, on the federal side, and her committees? Thank you. We cleaned up Greeks, Blacks, those who are not Greeks, other organizations, what have we were all there. She gave our views and shared it and things, and she takes it back. I appreciate that. That should not be the outlier. That should be the norm. That should be the mandate. And better yet, take your damn kids with you to these things, so then that way they can see what's going on with everything. One of the best things. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. LP. I think one of the things too is that we have to encourage them to focus on better recruiting of members and things, whatever.
Could you say? I'm sorry, we're losing your audio. I hear a lot of air.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there's a lot of background air.
Yeah, I think because I'm in the car. Better recruitment of members, because not everybody has that fire to do in the community to that nature. They just want the colors. They just want to belong. They want to be able to socialize or whatever, and that's okay. It's like, I share and stuff. I sit on the state conference in the NAACP here in Virginia, right? And I'm always encouraging people, why aren't you a part of the oldest and the boldest civil rights organization? Okay, and I get, well, they haven't done this. What have you done? Because if you're on the outside looking in, we need all of the foot soldiers that we can. Number one, and we need to be teaching the young generation because they're the ones that's going to be out there protesting and marching. Y'all know I got a bad back. I ain't doing no marching. I can make a bunch of phone calls for you. But you know what I'm saying and stuff? But we've arrived into like there was an event a couple of weeks ago called the State of the Truth here, and they actually had a table, and there are people that walked up and they said, "Would you have interest in hearing about the NAACP and joining the NAACP?" And they was like, "Oh no." And I'm like, okay, the reason why your black behind could walk out here right now is because of the NAACP. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, so before you start asking, what are we doing? What are you doing? What part are
Exactly.
you playing in helping out what's going on? Okay. Because right now it's all hands on deck. And this is not a plug for the NAACP. I don't care if you join the NAACP, if you join the Urban League, if you join SLCU, if you join Crusade, whatever, you got to be a part, Divine Not, a part of an organization that is about uplifting, educating, and empowering Black people. Because playtime is over. The one thing that we all know that the church taught us way back when is the devil is always out to seek and destroy. Everything that's coming out of DC is demonic. The devil is sitting in the White House. Okay, so we got to get to work. We don't. Playtime is over. You have all of these local elections that's coming up, and people don't even know who's running. They voting on name recognition. They voting on who their friend like. They voting on who comes into their neighborhood and kisses their baby and bring hot dogs and bouncy things, you know, and little gift cards and stuff like this. Okay, you see what a stimulus check got you last time.
Hmm. I agree. We need to combat voter suppression locally, gerrymandering, the purges, all that type of thing. Push for black representation and appointments. Yes, and uh, these committees and things, the wages, all these different committees. We need more uh, appointments, especially those who are a part of Black Greeks involved to demand representation in local boards, commissions, school boards, and state agencies as well. That's on the political side. Education, law, and justice. We need more legal clinics and pro bono days. There are a lot of Black lawyers out there that we need to sit there and we need people to start going out there and talk to them. That students to provide free expungements, legal advice, and support for low income families. We need to do a better job for the Black fraternities. I know there was a big push for the last few years regarding the expungement record here, and now we just got this thing of record sealing, which really does not do enough of anything here in Virginia. But the Black Greeks should have been involved, knowing Virginia and Pennsylvania are the final strongholds of Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky, the final strongholds on expungement rights. And you know this, but where are you? Sponsor law school scholarships for BIPOC students. We need more of that. You know, it's plain as day. Adopt and support local schools. Adopt the classroom, making sure these classrooms get the support. You know, if the teachers, we all know teachers are traditionally and long of life not getting any love. Okay, let's just be honest. If teachers were paid more, you would have more men, and you know all the stupid stereotypes that goes along with that teachers got to fight through. But now teachers, and you know, teachers should not at this point have to spend a dime. If the school board don't give it, the teachers put up what they need, and we need to start. We do give back to schools for kids and things, but we don't do enough give back back to schools for teachers. That should be something like we were. Our culture were the ones that helped stop the Black Panthers started the food programs for breakfast and everything else out there, and now it was adopted in a national law. What would you think how it would be that if our Black Greeks adopted, you know, adopting the practice of supporting our teachers and giving them supplies for classrooms? If we had did that in the same amount of time, or even the 80s, where would it have been now? Okay, so you know, think about these things. We need to publicly support DEI programs and fight rollbacks. There are a significant amount of companies out there that are just saying, "The hell with you and Trump. We're supporting DEI and black people." DEI is not even about Black people, but it's just you know, it's just whatever reason. But hey, you know the initiatives and things that goes along with it. challenge mass incarcerations and police brutality. That's just a given. Career business and economic development, create a national Black business directory. Okay, we got all these different ones and things, and that's good for local and state, but we need a national one. Spend Black weekends. We should have that once a month. Okay. Offer community credit and investment co-ops. We had that for a while when at one point, using the South and just using Richmond for example. Richmond before Atlanta, Richmond was one of the hottest places to have a home if you was a Black couple or a married family, till about 74. From 64 to 74 was one of the hottest areas. And we need to start bringing that back. Even in Harlem back in the day, you could get a home, you can get a townhouse and things. We need to bring that back. Yes, boy, the number one recipients of DEI were white women, definitely. Partner with Black Chambers of Commerce, jolting networking and business development in ways to help grow for Black and also Latino base. And I wanted to, I'm not trying to hate or anything else, just because I'm saying Black, that I'm not excluding the Black Latino, the Black Asians or what have you, and those who are from multiracial communities. I'm not excluding you. Okay, there's love here. Provide financial literacy boot camps. God knows I've been doing this for years, fighting this, and y'all don't know why our people here in Virginia and around the East Coast and everywhere just want to continue to fight with me about this. I don't understand. But those who want to sit there and just provide you information, yeah, you just don't want it. You want to continue to work hard and not let the money work for you. And this is why we're in the predicament that we're in right now as a culture. Hold job fairs and career development forums. We definitely need to do that. HBCU grads, those who are, from high-end schools as well, UVA, Princeton, Harvard, Yale, whatever. We are heavily impacted by layoffs. The federal workforce, with the 300,000 federal jobs that was taken, a lot of them were from Black Greeks. Because the rule of thumb back then was you get a federal job, you good, and you were stable. Not anymore. And so many of them were gone. The last four, culture, accountability, and reputation, clean house and self-audit publicly, call out performative leadership, outdated mindsets, and those who are using letters for only status and not service. I really wish they would do that. In photo op activism, require a minimum number of political or service hours before posting or participating in major public events. Don't just show up one time for the year with your jacket. Hi, I'm here for my back to school drive. I'm here for my drive for Thanksgiving and Christmas to get the turkey and get a bicycle for my kid for Christmas. Thank you. Goodbye. We need more than that. Sorry. That's not doing enough. I'm not saying it's not appreciative, but we need more than that. Okay. I'm quite sure there's some kids that get a bike every year from you. Publicly support LGBT members and safety. Now, I know this is going to be a bite for some, but there's a significant amount that are Greek and that's trying to fight not just for LGBT rights, but just rights for all Black people. So we will have to start sitting here and find commonality and start pushing forward. Stop fighting. It's here. They're not going away. I don't care about your gender. Don't care about your race. I'm sorry. If you're gay or not, I just care about you saving a life. And I do believe another issue regarding this sidebar. I'm not gay. I don't hate anybody. But I'm terribly tired of seeing our people killed in the streets. And I'm terribly tired of seeing more and more our people killing other gay people. Now, for whatever reason, I know some is justified or robbing or whatever stories or issues, rumors, unrumors, whatever the issue, nobody deserves to be killed. Plain and simple. And those stories are not getting told. I think it's being told in some of these other shows that you see, HBO and other places that's addressing these culture. But I'm tired of seeing our people killed and then we're romanticizing it with, Snowfall, Power, God knows whatever else show out there. And it's cool. No, it's not. And return to Silk's point, return to the founding missions. Revisit and recommit to each organization's original founding purpose. Most were created under segregation to fight dignity, access, and liberation. I think that's I don't want to take your words out your mouth, Silk, but I think that's one of your main talking points.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, all of the other stuff. Um, of what you said is opinion. I mean, because there are organizations that are out there doing, a lot of, like I said, great things. You see them doing things in the community. Is it enough? Absolutely not. But like with anything, trying to get all of our people together to stop working in silos and working, together and collectively is the only way that we're going to be able to do this. I think regardless of not even outside of the Divine Nine, we just have to stop with the whole crab in the barrel mentality. And I was going to do it, but it never get done. Okay, if work together, we've got to come together. Okay, we really, really got to come together and to work together, because if we're all saying different things, the strategy is like they say, and you say all the time, why they're playing chess, we're playing checkers. Okay, strategic across the board. You gotta know, when to hold it. You gotta know when to move in silence. You just have to. It's just so much work that needs to be done, and we're so damaged as a people that hurt people hurt people. So we end up hurting each other when the fight is not internally with us. The fight is out there. The fight is right now. We should be monitoring who is getting ready to run for offices in your area, and what's their position, what are they saying or what they're not saying, where do they stand on when this idiot in the White House makes decisions. Are they speaking up against him? It's like I said to a friend of mine the other day. She was like, "Oh, I got plenty of friends that don't agree with what he said." Yeah, but are they saying that, or are they just telling you that there's a difference? Okay, because you can be comfortable in just telling me what actions are you taking out in the world to let him know that you don't stand with him in his foolishness.
Are you right? You only took a stand because it started affecting your wallet
Right.
and things. You had no issue before. Not to
Right.
leave anything off in a bad note, good, bad, indifferent. I wanted to bring up the subject of the young four girl, Miss Shirley. So I'm going to play a little bit of the clip from the Jennifer Hudson show of Miss Shirley. Silk, is that cool?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure. So let's see what we got here. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, so can you tell us where did you learn to dance like that?
Because I see on TikTok and I learn them.
Oh, that's how you learn? You learn fast?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Mom, tell us about her viral video that everyone is talking about.
She's being viral and she loved to dance like since she was a baby. She's been like a little spunky little baby. So one day we was in the house making TikToks, of course, and she learned to dance herself. And so I was like, "You want to go outside on your dollhouse and do it?" She was like, "Yeah, Mom." She was like, "Yeah, Mom, come on." So I got her dressed and we went out and
She's been
doing it ever since.
Oh my
Everything
goodness.
is boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, huh?
Yeah.
I saw you looking at your good dancing on here, huh? You did good. Yeah. We want to be like you. You know that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now your name is Lil Raya, but I hear you have another name, Miss Shirley. How did you get that name?
Because I just call me that name.
Oh, you called you that name. So nobody gave it to you?
No.
Mom, where she get the name from?
When she was a baby, like we was getting ready to get in the car one day, and she gave me attitude. She was crying. I was like, "Now we're not gonna act like this today, Miss Shirley."
That's you as a baby? Yes.
And ever since she was a baby, we have been calling her Miss Shirley.
All right. Well, we're gonna call you Miss Shirley from here on. All right, Miss Shirley. She likes it. I love that. Now you've been teaching people boots on the ground line dance.
Yeah.
Are you having fun doing that?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about it?
The dance.
What? What you thinking? Yes.
That's me.
You know, I got two snapping fans right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I do something with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like every you need to go to the store, get you one of them big fans that say Miss Shirley on it.
It's Miss Shirley. I think you're right. Oh my goodness. She got some good ideas. Do you think my fan is big enough?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Let me show you how big or not. Look, that's how big.
Yes. This is how I spread it out.
Like this.
I don't know. Girl, you're good.
Like this. On this side. Like hold one piece.
Oh, girl, how do you?
Not too many pieces, one piece.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Miss Shirley. Right. Yes, Miss Shirley. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Miss Shirley, can you teach me some kind of line dance?
Yeah.
Now, Miss Shirley, before we get started, I got a friend who would like to learn with me. Can she join us? Can I bring her out?
Yeah.
The more the merrier, right?
Yes,
we want to bring everybody some joy. Come on, Nancy! Right here. Okay. Hi, little mama. This is Miss Shirley. Listen, I have reposted your video on my page so many times. I just love you so much, and I'm so happy to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. You gonna show us how to dance?
Yeah.
All right. You gotta help me out on this because I know you made everybody practice for your birthday. Okay. Can we step up a little bit, Miss Shirley?
Sure.
I know you're running things, but you see that star right there? You can start. All right. Y'all ready?
Silk.
I think that Miss Shirley is absolutely adorable for a 4-year-old. I think that she's really, really smart. I think her mom is really, really smarter. I have mixed emotions about it. I was very, very clear with that. It's like I have mixed emotions about it because we live in a society where we have to be really, really careful what we allow our children to partake in, because unfortunately there are some very bad players out there that utilize these things for grooming. I know that somebody had reported her mom to Child Protective Services. I know that they were investigating for all of that or whatever. And I don't know the circumstance for that. She seems like she's really well taken care of. The concern that I always had is that I've only seen 2 videos with this little girl with children. I've always seen her in like what looks like clubs, or adult men always picking her up like she's a Chucky doll. And I just, as a mother, I don't like that. I don't like a bunch of grown people, men, women, because there's women pedophiles too, picking up other people's children and exposing. But these are video clips, so I don't know if we're getting, what I'm saying, the whole video. If there's children present, I can tell you, out of the whole thing, there was one video that I did not like, and that was the video that they had her imitating Johnny Gill's song My, where she put on the red dress, the lipstick. From an innocent parent point, it was absolutely adorable, but the song is sexual in nature. So if you're really paying attention to the words, that song was way too mature for her to, what I'm saying, to be dealing with. The boots on the ground thing is the phenomenon right now. Like anything, I was like, damn, how many line dances do we need? Because I remember when it used to be just the electric slide, and now every time the song comes on, there's a line dance to it. So I just, she's talented. I lift her up in prayer, but I really want mom to really don't be so defensive. Take heed. Some of these people that are giving you advice, not trying to tell you how to be a mom, but some of them are survivors. Some of them, they see some of the things that, they were cute. I have a very dear friend of mine that is a survivor, and how she was set up to be prey is, remember back in the day, whenever the family got together, it was like, come on and do that dance for Uncle Johnny. Come on and entertain or whatever. And so you think that's the norm of dancing and shaking and stuff for Uncle Johnny. And then Uncle Johnny, comes over and parents aren't home, and Uncle Johnny wants you to shake and dance for him if something happens. So we just have to be really, really, careful. I hope that I never heard about a father, or what I'm saying, anything like that. So I just, hope that, she continues on the path of what makes her and her mom happy, but if that is safe. That's just how I feel.
The comments that I've read regarding the young girl before this and now, I get the idea, and people always keep trying to get mad at me. People are saying, I'll stop trying to tell women what to do and kids and blah, blah, blah. But my issue, and of course, I have no children, so I supposedly don't have common sense with the kids, as they say. My issue, I saw the my thing with the red dress and things, and I feel like, we over sexualize kids. Now, I have mixed emotions too, because Lord knows I was grown. But I was grown like books, education, reading, I was her age, telling off the mailman about not coming on time and where he's supposed to do his routes, So I was in preschool telling kids to the teacher how she's wrong. Now I was correct, but I was telling the teacher how wrong she was on African countries at that time, because I was reading. That's something different than this being over sexualized here. And I think everybody's just like, it's one thing doing a dance and you can wave the flag or fan every time, but her main thing is that she can do the dance and everything else, but her main thing is just bending down and making sure she can shake her butt in the leg, sort of like the stinky leg or the four corners, and that's where she's getting down on. And things, and again, you're gonna see all these things. And again, I see the little cartoon we've seen for years that the girl cuss, everybody laughs, and she does this, and it's cute. Then she wonder when she's 16, where did I go wrong? And I'm not calling that on her daughter, but those type of things happen. We saw the girl, the Cash Me Outside girl now, whatever her name is, and then now you see how she's out and about, and she's making. She wasn't protected and she went crazy, and they went on Uncle Dr. Phil and all these things. I just don't want, more often than not, we've seen too many times this be a true Hollywood story of a teen, an internet sensation, and what happens to her after the fact. But it's Miss Shirley. what happens. I don't want it to be where she fell into drugs, she felt exploited. I don't want to hear the story that her mom made all this money and she got none of it and it's not in the bank somewhere. All these things. I worry about, I love kids seeing, their hair done in African colors and African designs and styles, but sometimes I feel like it's just too grown. I feel that sometimes the kids don't necessarily follow what you say, they follow what you do. And you pick up on all of that because she saw somebody. If her mother wasn't shaking her butt like that, somebody else was around, or she saw videos. I see videos where you see kids play dress up. I see videos of her wearing wigs and sexualized hairs and gel down, all these different things. It's kind of crazy. So I'm just praying that one, she's safe. She's not going to be exploited. And I'm just hoping that, and there's all these stories about CPS. I have not followed them all, but I'm praying that Miss Shirley, this young lady, will be safe. God protects her. And like you said, I've seen too many stories and seen too many things of these kids go missing. Or, the running joke back then was, people don't steal black kids, not anymore. And exploit it. And I just don't want nothing to happen to this child or her family. And go from there. God be the glory on that. I want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dawn Jones. I appreciate you so very much, Queen. Please share this video when we're done. And everybody, boy, thank you so very much. Shy love everybody for supporting our podcast. And we try to get back going and rolling after taking a little bit of an extended break to take care of health and things. We are also, if you're interested in sponsoring so we can continue our shows and things, I have to pay raw silk and everything else, and things are costing now, as they say. We're grateful for $1 or whatever the case may be to sponsoring us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Enliven Global Media. We also have our Cash App, $IAMMRLP, and our Zelle, EnlivenGM@gmail.com. I thank you so very much for your support because we definitely could use it. If you're also a Black business or what have you, please give us a call. Shoot us an email. And EnlivenGM@gmail.com. I'll post it back up on the screen. The email that you can see in the ticker, EnlivenGM@gmail.com. If you want to be featured, have any questions, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to have you on here. And if you also have any questions, topics you want us to discuss, we try to cover a wide range of different things, entertainment, and try to be a little bit more tighter as we go along with this process. Excuse me. Silk, do you have any final thoughts, Queen?
No, I'm just thankful for the people who tuned in. Thankful to see you up and back on your feet and healing. So just thank you. Looking forward to more conversations. I just got out of the car and this back is killing me. So I'm just gonna say thank you and just stay tuned for more exciting topics.
Thank you. And I want to also give a shout out to our sister and brother. A couple of days ago, Marcus Johnson was his birthday. I think he turned 51, 52, whatever. Shout out to you, Marcus J. Also to Shanetta Stone, is her birthday. She is 50 today. So again, shout out to you. And thank you, everybody. To Silk's point, I've had some challenges, and unfortunately, I just recently had to have surgery. I'm very transparent. Some say maybe TMI, but you know what? If I'm saving a life, I don't give a dang because we don't have these discussions enough. I recently, 10 days ago, I had to have emergency prostate surgery. It became inflamed, enlarged suddenly, and thank God I stay on top of things regarding my health, and they had to do the TURP procedure. And now I'm having to pull back some things as I was already on the road to recovery, doing some things. I had to take a few steps back, but I'm here. I'm resting. I'm doing what I need to do and do what I can. So I thank everybody for your thoughts and prayers. Yes, I had the reconstruction of my foot and ankle. That's been some challenging to rebuild that and learning how to walk again and everything else. I'm out the wheelchair. I'm not on crutches. I have a cane. But it is what it is. No, I'm not getting, I'm not breaking down, I'm just getting better. Soon it's going to be Steve Austin. And if 6 million wasn't as big money back then, I don't know what it would be right now, but I will take it. 2025 is a version, but I'm grateful to all. Please share our videos and things. We're about getting that message and information across. And again, if you want to support us, please reach us out to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Enliven GM and things like that. Enliven, patreon.com/Enliven Global Media. Dawn, thank you so very much. Yes, I'm working to get better and things, and hopefully to get there. Still a process, and still a few months out, but going. And we have some future things coming up with not only with the show, but also with our sister company, On One Consulting, and everything else. Support Black businesses and support your local small businesses. And please be good to each other. Silk, stay with me. Thank you very kindly, everybody. And may you have a great and blessed day. Bye-bye.